This is the new version of the Heljan 26. It comes with a sort of plug and play board with sockets for everything, sockets for the motor and pickups, and also these little plugs here for all the lights, for the marker light, tail light, cab light and the engine room light. Same at each end. Got my replacement board to make battery conversion easier. Should fit in the same place, I hope. Here's one that I've soldered all the sockets onto, ready for all the existing components and all the new bits we're going to attach. So there's extra sockets for battery control. I've got 4 sockets here for cells, for 4 lithium cells or NIMs. There's a receiver socket there, 4-pin receiver socket. Then there's terminals at each end for 2 speakers. The original PCB had an XL socket, but my one's just got an L socket. There's no need for a 5 amp decoder in this Loco. I've got a 2.5 amp fuse fitted to the board to protect the Loksound 3 amp decoder here. That just plugs in. This is a version 5 decoder. You can see the green super caps for the stay alive. When I design a new board, I like to get it fitted and wired up, check I've got the circuit right, particularly this one with all the functions, all the extra lights on it out of plugs. I want to check that I've got those right on the actual board. Plug all the components in. This is the speaker now. You missed me plugging in all the lights because the plugs are so small. I had to stick my nose in the chassis. And you don't want my head getting in the way of anything, otherwise it causes an eclipse. Both the Loksound and the new Zimo decoder that fit this socket have 2 speaker outputs. In fact, the Zimo has 2 discrete outputs, so you can mix individual sounds between the 2 speakers, which might be quite effective for things like horns. I've removed the motors in preparation for chassis mod, so I've got to connect a temporary motor to the board. For the sake of this test, I'm going to connect 2 7.2 volt NIM packs to these top 2 battery sockets. And because all the sockets are in series, to add the cells together, I need to short out these 2 sockets to complete the circuit. So for that I've got 2 dummy plugs to short out the pins in each socket. Having 4 separate sockets allows me to add a balance charge socket, so the user has a choice between NIM or lithium. Now let's add the receiver. This is a Wi-Fi tracks, and because it's got this 4-pin connector, it means you can change the receiver. Here's the Fosworks with the same plug. Could just swap that over and use that instead. But for this test I need to get to functions higher than 12 because I don't want to have to reprogram the decoder. So I'm going to use a Wi-Fi tracks that will give me access to all the functions. Bits are all in, let's power it up. Lights on, light on the Wi-Fi tracks there. Always good to see lights come on rather than smoke rise. Connected to the Wi-Fi tracks Wi-Fi, let's turn the sound on. Yes, after the lights come on, another good thing is to know that I've not blown up the decoder. Every now and then you see a green LED on the Wi-Fi tracks flash. There it is. That shows there's DCC communications going on. The Heljan board had the tail lights on function outputs 3 and 4 and the cab lights on outputs 5 and 6. So I've done the same with this board. I'm just checking I've got the wiring right here. That way, if anyone buys a sound project specifically for the Heljan 26, when they press the buttons for cab lights or tail lights, then the right lights come on without having to reprogram the decoder at all. Checking the marker lights work on the usual function 0 there. Important to check all the connections, so I'm just going to make sure that the motor spins as well when you put the throttle up. No doubt the eagle-eyed amongst you would have seen the 37 written on the decoder there, and as you can hear it's a class 37 decoder at the moment. This video doesn't show me trying the engine room lights. These were originally on function output 7 on the Heljan board, but instead I'm using them as a power light to indicate that you've turned the batteries on. All my boards for Heljan diesels have provision for a switch to be fitted to choose between track or battery power, but to be honest I've not been using that recently because I can't be bothered to keep the wheels and the pickups clean. I only really use track pickup to do programming, and I know there are some receivers that will allow you to program wirelessly, but if you want to do any heavy duty programming, say you want to update lots of CVs or you want to update the sound project, then I take the lid off, unplug the receiver and then plug in a programming lead that gives my command station direct access to the decoder. Okay, well it's always good when version 1 of something works. A couple of people are waiting for these, so now I've tested one and not blown anything up, I feel a bit more confident in sending them out. Thanks for watching. Got any questions, then contact me via the Facebook Battery Trains group.